Well, hey there guys. Thanks for joining us here on this salute to Jeff Beck and the new documentary Still on the Run. Play some Jeff Beck? I don't think so. Nope, it's all about Jeff Beck. Alright guys, Jeff Beck's still on the run. Let's talk about it. Guys, thanks for joining us here at Rock Hard Riffs. This is the guitar channel for the self-taught, and every once in a while we do a little overview of like rockumentaries or documentaries, and this one is all about Jeff Beck, and this came out, I believe, in March of 2019. Now, that's when I watched this, in March, and what a fantastic documentary it was. I'm just a big documentary fan, what can I say? And there were a lot of really awesome people in this documentary, including Jimmy Page. Jimmy seemed really tight with Jeff, and of course they were together in the Yardbirds. And then there was David Gilmour, and he seemed to have a very different insight into Jeff Beck. I guess they must have been friends behind the scenes or something. And there was Rod Stewart as well, who was with Jeff Beck, and Ron Wood, of course, that was in the Jeff Beck group. They had a really killer, kind of low-down, dirty sound they did. I thought they were really good. Slash was also in this, along with Eric Clapton, George Martin, Jan Hammer, and quite a bit of Joe Perry, who had to say that there's everybody else, and then there's Jeff Beck, as far as guitar playing goes. And I'll tell you, I have to agree. And so Jeff, of course, is kind of famous for playing a lot of jazz fusion type stuff. And it's complicated and it's confusing and stuff, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. But there's absolutely no denying his talent and ability on the guitar. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, Joe Perry is so right. There's everybody else. And then there's Jeff Beck. He's just in a different plateau. He's just on a different level. He is like a rock and roll samurai, in my opinion, or a samurai guitarist, in truth, in reality. He is truly one with that guitar. That's my opinion. I mean, you just hear it in his touch. Just an incredible player. Now, I'm not going to give everything away at all. We're just briefly going to touch on the beginning, and then hopefully you'll be able to see this. Again, I saw this in March, and it was on the movie channel, and I only saw it once on the guide as I kind of scroll through, and luckily I hit the record button as soon as I saw it, and so I've watched it 2 or 3 times now. Now basically it starts with the Yardbird kind of experience in 1966, how they had a hit with Things to Come, and they started making a little bit of money, and Jeff said everybody else had invested their money, of course, in businesses and ventures like that. And of course, he being a rock star guitar player, he went out and bought a 63 split window Corvette, of course. I mean, what else do you buy? But that was kind of his attitude. And of course, when you watch this, you'll see that he became famous for, if you didn't know, of leap splitting right in the middle of a tour. Just out he goes. And he did that with the Yardbirds, and that was the end of his career with the Yardbirds. That's how Jimmy Page was with the Yardbirds playing bass. They toured America. They were touring on a bus with other bands and stuff that had really no musical relationship with the Yardbirds, or at least that's what Jeff Beck thought. And he just up and ran, just went back home and left Jimmy Page holding the bag. And you know, that's of course Led Zeppelin came from that, and the rest is musical history from there. Now, one thing that's very cool, Jeff Beck had a very heavy Indian influence very early on, and until recently. He liked to listen to a lot of Indian music, and he tries to emulate the vocals and the sitar on the guitar, which is really interesting, very cool, and very, very difficult. Now, one insight I thought was really interesting, and I just touched on it, was how Jeff Beck was trying to not simulate or emulate, but try to be like a vocal, like a voice. And he said that Rod Stewart, when they were together in the Jeff Beck group, he considered Rod's voice like a rhythm guitar. I thought that's a really interesting way to look at it. Really interesting way to look at it, if you think about it. That says a lot about Rod's singing ability, but it also tells you where Jeff Beck's head is. I mean, man, do you think that way? That's really cool, very interesting. And it was said also that ever since the Jeff Beck group, when Rod and Ron Wood left, that Jeff was constantly trying to find the next Rod Stewart, and of course he didn't. So what he wanted to do was just make his guitar the singer. He wanted that to be the main melodic line, the guitar. The guitar would do the singing. So the guitar is the voice. And you've got to figure that's really difficult, but he did such a great job at it. Just really incredible. If you haven't listened to him, check out the album Blow by Blow. Just look at stuff. I'll put it in the description, Blow by Blow in the description, and man, just listen to some of that. It's absolutely incredible. Something else that you might find surprising was Jeff Beck's work with Stevie Wonder, and also his involvement with the song Superstition. And what a collaboration, Stevie Wonder and Jeff Beck, and they came out with one of Stevie's greatest hits of all time. Who doesn't know the song Superstition, even to this day, right? That's one of those songs that just lives on and on and on. So again, this was just another excellent documentary. I think you'd really enjoy it. Hopefully you can find it. It just came and went. So hopefully, hopefully it's still out there for you to find. So again, that was Jeff Beck, Still on the Run. And again, they talk all about his work with cars. You know, he loves to work on cars, and he kept it balanced between being a musician or a rock star and his true love of fast cars and stuff like that. You know, he kept his humanity with him, and he lived out in the country, that kind of thing. So really interesting documentary, guys. Check it out if you can. Again, that's Jeff Beck, Still on the Run. And we really appreciate you watching this video. Let us know if you enjoyed it or not. Give us a thumbs up if you did. If you're new to the channel, check out our other videos. And if you enjoy what we do, please subscribe. Alright guys, thanks again. We'll see you next video.